Okay, welcome back. I hope you're ready for your first lo-fi house lesson, at least in this course. So let's start it. The way I usually start my tracks is by setting the BPM. So we are at 119, which is fairly slow for house and EDM, but it's just right for those loungy kind of lo-fi house set. Anyway, let's start with creating your very own samples, because just a little background story, lo-fi started with like all those hip-hop guys just sampling 60s jazz stuff from YouTube and then processing it in a really lo-fi way. At least the really popular one was started that way, and lo-fi house is just the same, but we want to make copyright free stuff, things that we can actually sell on Spotify, because we want to make this living. So let's create our own samples. And we do this by using Spitfire Labs. This is in case you don't know, it's a free plugin. It's from Spitfire Audio. Those guys are really top-notch in terms of creating cinematic tools like strings and chords and guitars and pianos and all those. You probably heard Spitfire Audio if you ever seen a movie recently. So Spitfire Labs, really recommend it. It's free and you get a ton of sounds. But we start by using the soft piano, which is just the starting sound for me. So create an 8-bar loop, hit Command Shift and M to create a new clip. And this is like the first tip I really give you. Man, learn those shortcuts. Shortcuts are just going to improve your whole workflow by so much. It's incredible. Like, you need to learn your shortcuts. When I started learning those and really implementing those, my workflow, my ideas, it just like boomed. So this is a really quick tip. Anyway, let's close this window for a second. In Ableton 11, you got to use scale mode. And today, let's just write a piano in E minor. So you just activate scale mode. And it gives you all those kind of green lines, like if your clip is brown, you have brown lines and so on. You get the deal. Anyway, if you then hit scale on the top left here of the piano roll, it folds down your whole MIDI clip to just the notes that are in the scale of E minor. And this is gold for people like me who can't play any real notes and who just need to be able to hit the right ones when drawing in MIDI notes. So we are using scale mode E minor. Let's do this. And the way I usually approach any type of music is by just starting with a single note, usually the root note, and then just building chords from there. And the way you usually build chords is you take your root note and you stack every other note on top of it until you have 3, and then you have the basic triad. But as we want to have like more jazzy kind of sounds, we take 4 notes on top, which is like the 7th chord. And this sounds really, really cool, but we need to voice this thing. So for this particular track, I wanted to have like a big voice sounding piano. And I also wanted to kind of have imperfections. So let's just add some random notes here. And the way to do like little imperfections is to get rid of the idea to have everything on grid, because nobody ever plays like perfect on time. So you have little imperfections even between chords, even between notes, and you want to really kind of emphasize on this. So put on the F sharp here as well. And put this down 1 octave. Oh, you hear this? You hear this moody? And now let's go down to a C. And the way I'm doing it, usually I just copy some notes and then just see what kind of connects, what not. So we have the G here that connects. We can lift up the E, so we have our root notes in the 1 section and every other note in this 2 section. So as you can hear, they lack kind of more higher frequency content. So why not continue the idea of having the E and D together, which is kind of, if you want to call it like that, but unusual, because usually you have like spaces in between chord notes, but this time we have no space. There's just like one semitone between that is not in the E minor scale, but it sounds really cool, I guess. Yeah. And then we go back to the E, but this time getting rid of those notes, and maybe, let's see, because we want to, you know, I hear that it needs to get down. Let's turn up the voice a little bit. And we are missing some notes, so you need to experiment then. You have your top line, which is like the note on top, which kind of gives you the melody and the tone and the vibe. Not the tone, but what you can hum in your head is usually just the top line. If you are an advanced singer, or if you're advanced in singing the core, you can probably do other voices in your head on top or in between. But the way I hear it is just like on top, the note that is on top. So you need to experiment. No, that's too high. Another cool shortcut is if you press Alt and hit the spacebar, you can just start the chords from any section you want, wherever you put the cursor. So let's hear it. No, that's maybe the B. Oh, that's the note. Beautiful. And now we need to go back. And the way I want to do this is by just sticking to the C chord here. Because it's cool to have like simple chords. Really put on some imperfections. You can even just drag and drop, shorten some notes. And if you hit Command and the right arrow, you are able to, shift it right and left of the grid, which is really, really helpful. Oh, yes. And the way it kinda interrupts here is something I don't want. So let's just drag and drop some notes to overlap. Oh, beautiful. And we have our first 4 bars ready. So what you can do, like this is like usual songwriting advice. You can just repeat it, or you can repeat it and add some variation to it, or you can even drag the listener to another like section of the scale. But you need to be aware to bring it back home. So we are just moving from the E to the C, to the E, to the C again. And let's just repeat it, but add some variations because it kinda, you get the deal pretty quickly. And remember what I told you about the top notes? So why not shift this up like to a C maybe? Oh, the C sounds horrible. Maybe the B. Maybe the A. Oh, yes. This is like the perfect tone. It's kind of unstable, but you know that something is happening. Oh, and then we need to go back again. Maybe to the A. No, to the G. Yes. Adding some kind of variations to the top melody here. Needs to go down. Let's make this more imperfect. what I'm doing right now is kind of seeing how to fit the groove, because I don't want this to be all on the grid. But you need to be aware, if you stay off the grid, that everything is dynamic, everything moves, and therefore you need to find the right groove for the notes. So it kind of needs to have the vibe already. Maybe up again. No. Oh, and then back to the F. Yes. I think that's it. Maybe put the B here. Sounds a little cleaner. Maybe we can put more emphasis on it. And the way we are kind of using the F sharp here at the end of the chord, it's really unique because we haven't used a top note here. Maybe use it before. Beautiful. All right, so this is like our final chord progression for now. So just to explain this a little bit, what we are doing here is we are using a variation of 7th, 9th chords and single triads or duets. I don't know the term for it, but if you think about it, what we're using in the first chord is an E, we have the G, we have the B, which is our basic triad, and then another note, which is a 7th chord. And if you even add more, that is going to be a 9th chord. And the E in the middle here is just like an emphasis of the root note. So we're using a 9th chord at the beginning, and then use a variation using like the C, then we have an A, we have G, we have no B, but we have the D. We are leaving out the 7th note. Like this would be the 7th note, because if you look at it right now, isolated, it's 1, 2, 3, 4. The 4th note is the 7th, is the note for the 7th chord, but we're leaving this out, and therefore it's still a 9th chord, but without the note. And this is like the pattern we're using for all the other tracks. Except for the second part here. We are using E, G, and B, which is just the single triad, and then we are not even using the 3rd note of this triad. We are using only the minor 3rd and the major 3rd and the root note, which kind of makes us chords, although they don't change fundamentally, more interesting if you just play around adding notes or just reducing notes. And what we're doing in the second part here is we're kind of adding melody in between the notes. So instead of using the F sharp again, we're going up to an E, which is if that was the 9th, this is the 11th chord. Here we're using nothing but the 7th. and then just like kind of going up and down. That's really basically just playing around. So, congratulations, you just completed your very first piano, like your basic root, your basic chords, your basic melody, but now let's make some magic with it.